Hey guys, Jim from Import Image Racing and welcome back to the channel. On this week's video, we're installing the Noble Lux RF style lamp kit on our 2022 to present Subaru WRX. Let's do it. Before we install these Lux RF style side marker lights, let's take a closer look first. These are a complete replacement side marker light that gets rid of the factory reflector and replaces it with a subtle yet unique LED. Included in the kit is everything you need for a plug-and-play application that piggybacks off the factory taillight harness for seamless integration. This product is backed by the Noble limited lifetime warranty that guarantees this part against manufacturer's defects for the life of ownership. So let's move on to the installation. Before we head over to the car, we're going to get started with the light itself. Once you open the box, you're going to notice that there is two unterminated leads on each one of our lights. Now they do this for two reasons. Number one, depending on which way we want to approach our wiring, it very well might be easier for you to kind of fish some of this wiring harness without the bulkiness of having a connector on the end of it. The second is if we want to run one piggyback harness in the future when we tie multiple daytime running lights together like we have on this vehicle. But since our focus today is installing our corner light the way it came out of the box, we are going to use the connector that is provided with the kit. On the bench, we're going to locate our two unterminated pigtails. We will also locate one of our black connectors. Next, you'll want to locate the piggyback harness with the same black style connector as the one we are looking for. Then you're going to want to snap these connectors together. Make sure they are nice and snug. That means the orientation of our connector is proper for our installation. We're going to take note of the through color for both of our wires here. So you'll notice that the black is on the top and the red is on the bottom. Once our connector is clipped in and we can orient the wire colors, we will disconnect our connector. We will know that the top is black and the bottom is red. You'll hear a tiny snap once both of those wires are connected in, plus you can see the male lead of the harness inside of our connector. At this point, we will just check fitment to make sure everything snaps into place. Our wire orientation is correct. Then we can disconnect the light. Back over at the car, you may or may not have noticed this is not the particular reflector that is in your vehicle, and that's because this is the factory Subaru JDM reflector delete. Although this might be different than what is on your car currently, the installation or uninstallation of this reflector is the exact same as the factory reflector. We'll start by using a pick to push and release these two factory plastic clips. With our plastic clips removed, the only thing holding this plastic cladding on up until the front is some other plastic clips. So if we just use a little effort and pull, we can get enough of the cladding back to reach behind and dislodge our reflector. Behind our cladding, you will notice our reflector and our reflector clip. We will press and release our anchor. Then we can remove our deflector. At this point, we can find our reflector for the proper side of the vehicle, and then we can install it into the cladding. Once it snaps in, we can then use our factory anchor to secure. Next, we're going to remove our tail light to access our plug-and-play harness. To do so, we're going to remove this plastic push pin, then with a panel popper, remove the plastic away from the light. Then with the 10mm socket, we'll remove the attachment hardware for the tail light. Once we do that, we can simply remove the tail light by pulling towards the rear of the car and disconnecting our factory harness. The next part of our installation is probably the most frustrating and time-consuming part of the whole job, and that is getting your plug-and-play harness with our fishtail lead down through our tail light bucket into our rear quarter panel. To help with this job today, I will be using what we call a fishing line. And this is just a metal flexible line that kind of has a spring-loaded top end and a piece on the other side that allows us to kind of run a zip tie through where we could tie this all together and pull it through. Now, although this is kind of a professional tool, there are some other things you can do to kind of mimic what this does without rushing to the auto parts store to find this. Another way to do this is to straighten out an old metal coat hanger. Maybe you have some old welding rod laying around, or most likely you have some old stereo wire that you can just kind of tape this harness to one side and use that wire to fish down through our bucket. For the ease of installation, we're going to do this as two parts. First, we're going to get our harness down through our taillight bucket to the bottom of the car. At that point in time, we're going to pull all the tension we need to get it to our rear quarter panel. Then we will change directions going from the rear of the car to the front. So let's start with the taillight bucket. With our fishing line all the way to the bottom of the car, we will at this point plug our harness in, so in case we fish this through and pull too hard, it doesn't pull the rest of our harness through the bumper. We can take our connector that goes to our side marker light and we can electrical tape that to the other side of our fishing line, then pull this to the bottom of the car. Using the same fishing line method, we're going to take our string and put it through the hole of our quarter panel and push it towards the rear of the car until we gain access to underneath. Just like that. Now, instead of pulling our fishing line all the way through, we will take our electrical tape, tape it to the end, and then reverse pull it out of the hole in our quarter panel. Now that we have our wire through, it's good practice to take a look underneath the car and make sure the line isn't wrapped around anything hot like the exhaust or anything else that might be an issue. If everything looks good, we're going to go ahead and plug our harness into our light. At this point, we're going to plug our taillight back in and check for functionality before we put everything back together and call this job done. Ah yeah, looking good. If everything checks out and everything is working properly, at this point we can put all of our cladding back together. Then we can go ahead and reinstall our taillight. At that point in time, we can take all of those steps and repeat it for the other side, and we are good to go. Thanks for taking a look at the installation of the Noble Lux RF side marker lights for the 2022 to present Subaru WRX. For thousands of parts just like this, plus tons more, be sure to hit up importimageracing.com for all the best deals on the web and in the world, and we'll catch you on the next one.